Welcome back, my dear children of class 9. A very good morning to all of you. So today in this video, we shall be continuing with where we had left in the last video with Merchant of Venice, MOV, Act 2, Scene 2. We had already discussed in last previous video where we talked about a new character that we were introduced in that scene, and that is Lancelot. And between Lancelot and his father, who is a sand blind, who is almost blind, the kind of comic conversation that develops between the two, where Lancelot tries to put a trick on his father by confusing him, by not revealing his identity as his true begotten son. So, and prior to that, we also discussed in the very opening scene of Act 2, Scene 2, that Lancelot, who happens to be the servant of Shylock, is planning to leave the service under Shylock. Why? Because he feels that if he stays any longer under the service of Jew, that he too will turn into a Jew, he will turn no different from a Jew, who is the very devil incarnation. So that is what we see. And finally, after having revealed his identity, Lancelot, he announces that, he has a plan to join the service of Bassanio, who is a Christian. And apart from being a Christian, the other idea that he liked and was attracted towards being employed under Bassanio was the bright colored liveries, uniforms that were given to the new servants by Bassanio. So that was the reason why, and of all the reasons, the most important reason was Bassanio was a Christian, and that was why he wanted to join Bassanio. And eventually, and at that very moment, as soon as he announces about his plan to join the service under Bassanio, immediately at that nick of hour, Bassanio appears. So that is exactly where we had stopped with, and we shall proceed with the scene ahead. So then let's move ahead. Okay. Enter Bassanio with Leonardo and other followers. So Bassanio, he's seen talking with, now he has already made arrangement for his loan that he required to head to Belmont and try his hand in the lottery system in order to win Portia's hand. And that loan he has taken from Shylock. Yes, we should not forget that. Then Bassanio, to a servant, he's seen conversing with his servant. You may do so, but let it be so hasted that supper be ready at the furthest by 5 o'clock. See these letters delivered, but put the liveries means the uniform making, and desire Graciano to come anon is soon, to my lodging. So he says, so he was giving some orders to his servants regarding, what time he should, regarding what are the works that he's supposed to execute, and and how fast immediately he has to go ahead with it. And not just that, he was supposed to, after having completed all those work, Bassanio wants his servant to be back for this by 5 o'clock, So because they have a dinner plan that evening for tomorrow, the following day, they were planning to leave for Belmont. So see these letters delivered, and he was sending forth some letters to put the liveries making, so, and give orders for the liveries, that is the uniforms, to be made, prepared, uniforms for his servants, yes, who will be accompanying him to Belmont. See these letters delivered, put the liveries making, and desire Graciano to come anon. Please ask Graciano to come as soon as possible, immediately, to my lodging. Then Lancelot, pushing his father towards Bassanio. So Lancelot and Graciano, old Gobbo, they are there waiting, and Lancelot is really excited to see him. In fact, he's very happy. To him, father, so Lancelot, he's pushing his father from behind and is asking his father, who's sand blind, who is as good as blind, asking him to speak for him to Bassanio. Then he's pushing his father. Gobbo, God bless your worship, God bless you, sir. Then Bassanio, gramercy, that is denoting thank you for your blessing. Wouldst thou aught with me? So, do you want anything from me? Gobbo, here's my son, sir, a poor boy. So he introduces his son, Lancelot. Gobbo, referring him as a poor boy. Then Lancelot, on the other hand, he does not want to be shown as, presented as somebody lowly, and he says, not a poor boy, sir, but the rich Jew's man. So I'm the rich Jew's servant. That would, sir, as my father shall specify, explain. So he, before completion of his sentence, he stops immediately, and he is seen expecting his father and wanting his father to complete everything for him, speak for him, represent him, and leaving the other end of the conversation for his father to complete. So he just leaves his sentences incomplete, expecting his father to complete it, hides, and then after having said that incomplete, after having not completed his sentence, he hides behind his father, and Gobbo, he's there to complete for him, obviously. He hath a great infection, sir, as one would say, to serve. So he has a great infection. Actually, there is and this is another comical act of these comical characters, namely Gobbo and Lancelot, where they add to the comical scene of this play, where they use wrong words. There is wrong usage of words, and what Gobbo intended to say was not infection. All right. He tried to meant affection, actually, but he uses the wrong word wrongly, and he says infection. So what he meant to say is, he has this affection. My son carries that affection, where he is very anxious to serve you, sir, as one would say, to serve. Then Lancelot, coming forward, again he comes forward, interrupting his father. Indeed, the short and the long is, I serve the Jew. So in all case, I serve the Jew, and have a desire to do what? To serve you. He meant to say that, but he does not again complete his sentence, and again pushes his father forward and wants his father to complete it for him. And he says, and have a desire as my father shall specify. So again, he hides behind his father. Then Gobbo, his master and he, saving your worship's reverence, are scarce cater cousins. So he says, now Gobbo is reflecting upon, explaining about the kind of relationship shared by his son Lancelot, Gobbo, and Shylock. He says they share a relationship that are scarce cater cousins. Cater cousin means friendly terms. Scarce means not at all, hardly. That means they are not in friendly terms. Then Lancelot comes forward. To be brief, the very truth is that the Jew, having done me wrong, doth cause me, as my father being, I hope, an old man, shall fructify. Fructify means explain unto you. So Lancelot says, yes, he agrees with what his father says. He says that, yes, of course, we do not have a very friendly relationship, because Shylock has done me wrong. And the wrong that he has caused me, my father will now explain it to you. See, he wants everything to be, most of the things he wants his father to be there and represent him and explain it for him, while he hides behind his father, So this is the very comic of this. This is the very comic of this scene, where that has been displayed by Lancelot and Gobbo. Then Gobbo says, I have here a dish of doves that I would bestow upon your worship, and my suit is. Then Gobbo offers Bassanio the dish, that basket that consisted of cooked dove, which he actually had intended to gift it to Initially, he had intended to gift it to Shylock, yes. But now, he too has changed his plans. And he is moving according to his son's wish and desire, where now he's offering that gift that he actually had brought it for Shylock. Now he is presenting it to Bassanio, so that his son would be absorbed under the employment of Bassanio. Yes. Then what he says is, I have a dish of doves that I shall bestow upon your worship, and my suit is. So he gives forward, and my suit is, and I want to explain you that. Then Lancelot again, he interrupts and he comes forward. In very brief, the suit is impertinent. So actually, Lancelot, he meant pertinent to myself, as your worship shall know by this honest old man, and though I say it, though old man, yet poor man, my father. So in short, so he says that, whatever he is about to say, he is about to explain it about me. He's, and your honor will hear everything that he has to say about me from this old man, that is my father, who is a poor man. So he speaks. So there is this actually senseless, confuse talk of a lot of confusion that draws a lot of confusion in the head and the mind of Bassanio. For Lancelot is trying to say something, but he does not complete. And Gobbo is there to complete each and everything for Lancelot, but he does it by using wrong words, which literally confuses Bassanio more. Alright, that is what we see out here. Then Bassanio, he's so confused. He says, one speak for both. What would you? Let one of you do the speaking, not the two of you. Y'all are confusing me. What is it? Please tell me, what is it that you want? Then Lancelot, serve you finally. To say this, it took them a whole lot of Bassanio's time. And finally, Lancelot speaks up. When Bassanio asks, what is it that you want? Speak up. Then Lancelot says, to serve you. I want to enter your service, sir. Then Gobbo, that is the very defect of the matter, sir. Defect. Again, he is using wrong word out here. In fact, he meant effect. That is the sum and substance of our request. That is our sum and substance of our request, he meant to say. But again, he uses the word if wrongly and says, instead he says defect of the matter, sir. Then Bassanio, I know thee well, thou hast obtained thy suit. So I know you well. Since I know you well, Lancelot, you have obtained you. I shall comply, I shall agree to your request. You shall work under me. Shylock, thy master, spoke with me this day. Shylock, your master, had talked to me about you and had preferred thee. And had preferred thee means and had recommended you. If it be preferment to leave a rich, if you prefer to leave, that is to discontinue your service under the rich Jew's service, to become the follower of so poor a gentleman. So he's being very frank enough, and he says that yes, definitely your master did talk to me about you, and he did recommend me your name, but towards the end, it is wholly your choice. Your choice whether you want to continue your service under the rich Shylock, or whether you want to discontinue your service under him and wish to follow and work under a poor gentleman, work under a poor gentleman like me. Then Lancelot, the old proverb is very well divided between my master Shylock and you, sir. He hath the grace of God, sir, and he hath enough. So there is this old proverb that he who had the grace of God hath enough. This is one complete proverb. And Lancelot very cleverly, he says that this single proverb has been divided between you and my master Shylock. And he says very cleverly, he says, and very smartly, he says that I wish to join you because, you have the grace of God. All right. You, Lord Bassanio, you have the grace of God, while my former master Shylock, he had enough. Enough in the sense of money. In terms of finance, he is rich, but he does not have the grace of God. But you, on the other hand, you have the grace of God. That is why I wish to join your service. So he says this, and Bassanio, thou speakest it well. So you speak very well. Then go, father, with thy son, take leave of thy master and inquire. So go along with your son, old Gobbo. Finish up your affairs with your old master, and then inquire my lodging out to his followers. Give him a livery, give him a uniform, more guarded, more brighter than his fellows. See it done. So see that it is done. See that, ensure that he gets his uniform, and ensure that the uniform that you give him has more trimmings and more colorful than the rest of his fellow friends. So, and with this, he agrees to allow Lancelot to work under him. And then Lancelot, he's so happy, he's so glad to hear that, turns to Leonardo and whispers to him, Lancelot. Then Lancelot, on the other hand, when Bassanio, he continues his conversation with Leonardo, and Lancelot, he's talking to his father. He says, Father in, I cannot get a service. No, father, come along. Father in, Father, come along. I cannot get a service. No, I have never a tongue in my head. Father, you had told me. So he's telling his father, Father, didn't you tell me that? Hadn't you told me in the past that I will never be able to get a service, for I cannot speak for myself. But actually, this line is pretty ironic, because earlier we did see that he could not actually speak for himself, for he left all his conversations incomplete. But yet out here with such pride, he says, Father, you used to tell me that I never could speak for myself, and because of which I will never be able to get any work. I will not be employed by anybody. Well, looking on his palm, with such pride, he says, and he looks at his palm as if he can read his palm. Looking on his palm, if any man in Italy have a fairer table means a very fortunate table. Here means palm, the palm that this palm, he's referring it as table. So if in Italy, if there is anybody who has a fairer table, fairer means a very fortunate table than mine, than anybody, I feel that, I know, I'm confident that it is I who have the most fortunate palm in entire Italy. That is what Lancelot is trying to say, because now he has acquired the service under Bassanio. So, have fairer table which doth offer to swear upon a book, I shall have good fortune. So he says, if any man in Italy has more fortunate palm than mine, the palm which he places on Bible, swearing on Bible, when he's swearing an oath, then if that is the case, then I have a very good fortune, for I seem to carry a very fortunate palm. Then what happens? Go to here's a simple line of life. Here's a small trifle of wives out here. He meant, so he's pretending as if he can read the palm. So here is the line that talks about life. Here's the lifeline, and here is the line that reveals about my marriage life. Alas, 15 wives is nothing. Alas, so it seems, according to my marriage line, it seems that I will have 15 wives, he says. 11 widows and 9 maids is a simple coming in for one man, and then to escape drowning thrice, and to be in perils of my life with the edge of feather bed. Here are simple escapes. So he says, oh my God, I seem to be so fortunate. According to my marriage line, it seems that I will have 15 wives. although he says 15, but when he says 11 widows and 9 maidens, it is more than 15. It makes 21. So there is miscalculation with the calculation part also. So this is another comic scene that adds to the comical scene of the play. Then simple coming in for one man and then to escape drowning. And not just that, it seems that according to my lifeline, I will escape drowning thrice. I am so fortunate that I will be escaping drowning thrice. For I will be escaping death from drowning thrice. And to be in peril of my life with the edge of a feather. And not just that, I will also escape death from falling from a feather bed. So he says that. Then and with this he feels that he's still pretending that he can read his palm, and he says that in this manner he is so fortunate that not only will he have so many wives, but he will be escaping death many a times. Then, well, if fortune be a woman, she's a good wench, she's a good lady. For this gear, father, come, I'll take my leave of the Jew in the twinkling of an eye. So, father, I think I shall say goodbye to the Jew now. So, let us leave let us proceed towards the Jew's house. And exeunt Lancelot and old Gobu. So they leave. So now Lancelot has finally taken that decision to leave Shylock's service, and he has also acquired the service under Bassanio, which is a happy news for him. Then exeunt Lancelot and old Gobu. Bassanio, on the other hand, we see him conversing, still continuing with his conversation. I pray thee, good Leonardo, think of this, these things being bought and orderly bestowed. Orderly bestowed means carefully placed. Return in haste. I pray you, good Leonardo, think over this matter when you have brought those. So he's giving him some direction, after having where he wants him to buy some things. So he is telling him, he's advising him that after having bought those things, I want you to carefully place all those things on the ship. And the goods that he is referring out here is the goods that he was planning to take it to Belmont as gifts for Portia. So return in haste. Let's return quickly, for I do feast tonight, for there is feast tonight. My best esteemed acquaintance. So he was throwing a huge banquet for his friend, most valued friend. Best esteemed acquaintance means most valued friend. Hie thee, go, make haste, quickly, go quickly and execute these works. So Leonardo, my best endeavors shall be done herein. I shall do my best in this matter. They part and walk away in opposite directions. Leonardo meets Graciano. So Graciano is seen coming in that scene. Where is your master? So Graciano seems to be searching for Bassanio. Yonder, sir, he walks. He's walking out there, just ahead of us. Then then Graciano, he sees Bassanio and he calls him, Signor Bassanio, Graciano, I have a suit to you. I have a request to make. So they greet each other, and Graciano seems to have come up there, to meet Bassanio with a request. Bassanio, you have obtained it. You have received it. Whatever request you plan to make, you have obtained it. Before you make it, I give it to you. I will fulfill it. Graciano, you must not deny me. I must go with you to Belmont. But since you agree to fulfill my wish, you will not deny me. For now, what I am about to say is that I want to accompany you to Belmont. Then Bassanio says, why then you must, then you shall go. Yes, definitely you shall go. But listen, Graciano, thou art too wild, too rude and bold of voice. You are but listen, Graciano, you are very unruly, you are too rude, that is rough in manner, and bold means you are very loud also, loud of voice. Parts that become thee happily enough, and in such eyes as are appears not fault. So these are the things that suits you well. These are the nature and these are the traits that you have, and it suits you pretty well. And with friends like ourselves, with friends like ourselves, they do not seem to be they do not seem like any like faults of yours. They do not seem wrong in front of us. All these traits that you have, we do not mind, and nor is it wrong in front of us. We do not find any faults in it. But where thou art not known, why there they show something too liberal, too bold and free. So, but it is a different case in a place where you are not known by anybody. So what Bassanio meant was that although in Venice, in his circle, within his circle of friends, such kind of loud, unruly and very rough manners are acceptable, and they do not find any faults with him. But such traits will definitely not be acceptable in a place where he is not known by anybody. That is what he meant, and he is trying to pinpoint the place at Belmont. So then he says, something too liberal, pray thee, make pain to ally with some cold drops of modesty. So therefore I make request, I plead you to take pain to ally with some cold drops of modesty. So I request you to calm and modest your temper when we head to Belmont. After heading to Belmont, after having reached Belmont, I plead you, I beg you to calm and modest your temper, thy skipping spirits and try to calm down your lively spirits, excessive lively spirits, lest through thy wild behavior I be misconstructed in the place I go to and lose my hopes. So the reason why I am asking you to be modest and to be calm is that I do not want to be misunderstood by the people whom I am planning to meet at Belmont, and the people are Portia and her people out there at the court. So especially mainly it is Portia. So I do not want to be misunderstood, because of your wild behaviors, your wild and lively tempers. I do not want to be misunderstood by them at Belmont. Otherwise, if that happens, all my hopes of having a high chance of winning Portia's hand will be shattered. Then Graciano says, Signor Bassanio, hear me if I do not put on a sober habit, that is quite a manner, talk with respect and swear by now and then, wear prayer books in my pocket, look demurely means look gravely, very serious, nay more, while grace you saying would means close mine eyes, grace while praying, that is while praying I shall close my eyes, thus with my hat and sigh and say amen. Use all the observances of civility, like one who studied in a sad or ostent to place his grandam, that is grandmother, never trust me more. So believe me, Bassanio, I will definitely put on a very quieter spirit. I will definitely dress myself in a very manner where I will seem as if I am a very modest person, a person who talks less, a person who is very grave and serious, where I shall seem as if that I am a person who is trying to impress my grandmother by being very quiet and modest. So I will present myself at my level best by not being rude, by not talking too loud. I will say my prayers in front of everybody and make everybody feel that I am somebody who is very calm in terms of nature. So don't worry, I will not do something that would turn you down and I will not do something that will embarrass you, and I will not do something that will lead to a misunderstanding between you and Portia. Definitely I will not do that. So he makes a promise. Then What happens? Bassanio, well, we shall see your bearing, we shall see your behavior once we reach Belmont. Then Graciano, nay, but I bar tonight. No, but tonight is an exception. I will definitely produce a quieter manner, a quieter soul at Belmont. But tonight out here, since we are in Venice, you will not stop me from being who I am. Me by what we do tonight. Bassanio, no, that were pity. No, if I do that, it will be a sad thing. I will not stop you from being who you are today, at least for today. I would entreat you rather to put on your boldest suit of mirth, but rather I encourage you to assume your merriest mood, and merriest mood, and I want you to display your happiest mood today, for we shall be having friends coming over to my place. For we have friends that purpose merriment, but fare you well. I have some business, but before that, before the evening gather, I have some business to attend to, so I bid you farewell for now. Graciano, and I must to Lorenzo, and I must join Lorenzo and the rest, but we will visit you at supper time. So we shall visit you at supper time. With this, they end their conversation, and so now finally Graciano has also decided to tag along with Bassanio, and he wants to go to Belmont along with Bassanio. So, and that evening they have already decided for a supper, for a dinner meeting where all of Bassanio's valued friends shall gather. While that gathering takes place, on the other hand, towards the end, when Graciano says that he has some plan, he has a meeting with Lorenzo. Actually, we shall be soon introduced to a scene which happens to be the subplot of Merchant of Venice, that is the elopement scene, where Lorenzo has called all his friends to come up with a plan that he would devise as an opportunity to elope with the Jewish, that is the daughter of Shylock, by the name Jessica. So with this we are being prepared for the next coming scene, where we shall be introduced to another character very important in the subplot, that is Jessica. So with this we end this video, and finally we end Act 2 Scene 2, and in the next video we shall come ahead with Act 2 Scene 3. Till then, stay tuned, take care and stay safe. Goodbye, dear children. Good morning, my dear children of class 9. Welcome back to your virtual class. Today we shall still be dealing with MOV Merchant of Venice, and in the last video we had completed Act 2 Scene 2, where we discussed about the banter of Lancelot and old Gobbo, how he eventually gets himself absorbed under the employment of under the service of Bassanio, and Bassanio, who is planning to have a dinner party with his valued friends for the following day. They were planning to head towards Belmont, and in that scene, Act 2 Scene 2, we also have come to know that Lancelot, who happens to be the servant of Shylock, has decided to leave the service of Shylock and join under the service of Bassanio. So, and now coming back to Act 2 Scene 3, we are taken back to the scene where this scene is set in front of Shylock's house. In fact, inside Shylock's house, where we shall see Jessica expressing her sorrow for having heard the decision of Lancelot to leave the service of Shylock. Yes, so now let's move ahead. Act 2 Scene 3, the front door of Shylock's house opens, and Jessica and Lancelot, they come out. Jessica, I'm sorry thou wilt leave my father so I'm very sorry that you are leaving my father like this. Our house is hell. Our house is no different from, our house may be like a hell, a merry devil amusing A merry devil means amusing devil, and she's referring to Lancelot as a merry devil. Let's rob it of some taste of tediousness. Tediousness means boredom. So although this house of ours may seem like a hell, but with a person like you, an amusing devil like you, this house never seemed to be boring. In fact, you robbed this house from boredom. You took away took away a good deal of boredom, removed a good deal of boredom from this house of mine, which is like a hell, because of your merry nature. But fare thee well, goodbye. Since you have decided to leave, it's a sad thing that you are leaving, and since you have decided, fare thee well. There is a ducat for thee, and she passes on a ducat to Lancelot. And Lancelot, soon at supper shalt thou see Lorenzo, who is thy new master's guest. Who is the new master of Lancelot out here? Yes, Bassanio is his new master. His previous master was Shylock. Lorenzo, who is thy new master's guest, give him this letter, do it secretly, and so farewell. I would not have my father see me talk with thee. So here, in this scene, she's seen expressing her sorrow about the departure of Lancelot from that house. Lancelot, who had always brought happiness and who had always brought laughter, who had always removed a great deal of boredom from that hell-like house, as described by Jessica, who is the daughter of Shylock. From here we see the kind of father-daughter relationship shared between Jessica and Shylock through the mouth of Jessica, for she seems to be not very happy with her father. Then not just that, what we see is what we also see out here is Jessica, through her mouth, through her words, we also see that Shylock has been cast in a very cliched role as a villain out here, where he where he's presented more like a villain, for she describes her house like a hell because of the presence of her father, and furthermore you shall still see in this scene. And then she gives a ducat to Lancelot, and she gives Lancelot not just a ducat but also hands him over a letter to which she requests Lancelot to give it secretly to Lorenzo, who happens to be Lancelot's new master's friend. For that evening, she was well updated that evening there was a dinner meeting at Bassanio's house, where definitely Lorenzo was also invited. And since Lancelot was now a servant to Bassanio, she had secretly planned to send forth a secret letter to Lorenzo. So here we also get an idea of the kind of love, not the kind, but actually the love affair going on between Lorenzo and Jessica. Lorenzo is a Christian and Jessica, who is a Jew. Lancelot, adieu, tears exhibit, adieu, goodbye, tears exhibit, hinder my tongue, most beautiful pagan, most sweet Jew, adieu, goodbye. These foolish drops, he's referring to the tears, do somewhat drawn means dampen my manly spirit, adieu. So Lancelot is also equally saddened by the fact that he is leaving behind, although happy that he is leaving the service of Jew, but sad that he is leaving behind such a wonderful person, such a wonderful companion like Jessica, who had always accompanied her just as he had accompanied her. So Jessica, farewell, good Lancelot. Alack, alas, what heinous sin it is in me. What heinous, exit Lancelot. Lancelot, he leaves. Alas, what heinous, deadly sin is it in me to be ashamed to be my father's child. So she considers, so here exactly we see the kind of relationship that exists between father and the daughter, where she regards it as a shame, a sin to be the daughter of a father who is Shylock, who is of a cruel nature like that of Shylock. So she considers it as a sin, as a shame. But though I am a daughter to his blood, so though by birth I am his daughter, I am not to his manners, but I do not share his customs, I do not share his method of practices. Oh, Lorenzo, if thou keep promise, I shall end this strife. Strife is struggle. Struggle of being the daughter of, yes, Shylock. If thou keep promise, if thou, the promise that she had asked and she was given by Lorenzo to elope. All right, so if you keep promise, I shall end this strife, this struggle, become a Christian and thy loving wife. And so here we discover Jessica's plan to elope with Lorenzo, and in addition she is also planning to renounce her father's faith and become a Christian. So that is exactly what we see in this scene. And this, although this scene is very short, but yet it prepares us for the next coming scene, that is the elopement scene that shall take place. And after the elopement of Jessica, practically this scene is actually very important in the development of the main scene, or especially in terms of the court scene. Because why? Because we already know that Shylock has a deep-rooted hatred against Christian, and he's planning to take revenge against Antonio. So we already know that. But after the elopement of his daughter, who elopes with a Christian, his hatred towards the Christians, it deepens to such an extent where he completely gets blinded by his thirst to take, his bloody thirst, to be precise, his bloody thirst to take revenge against Antonio, against the Christian. That it becomes more profound and it deepens. That is exactly what we see, and eventually, because of that thirst, we see later in the scene that no plea, no request, even when the request had come from even the request that came from the Magnificos, the noblemen, and the Duke himself, does not change the heart of Shylock. That is exactly what we see. And so with this, we complete this short video of Act 2, Scene 3, and in the next video we shall move ahead with Act 2, Scene 4, which shall be taken place in Venice again, where we shall see the kind of we see the development of Lorenzo's plan to elope with Jessica. So till then, stay tuned, take care, and stay safe, my dear children. Goodbye.